What's going on, you guys? It's Cody. In this video, I want to talk about 3 things that I learned having 14 rental properties at just age 28. I'm going to talk about some things that I've learned about having rentals over the years, some pros and cons to having those rentals, and the different strategies that I now take that I did not take when I first started in this business. We're just going to jump right into it. I'm not going to drag this out into a very long video. I just want to talk about number 1 here first, which is you don't always want to push for the top market rent on your rental. What I've come to find over the years is that oftentimes the best tenants are not willing to pay the top price for that property. They're willing to shop around a little bit, and those top tenants generally will find a better deal somewhere else. So oftentimes it's actually better to advertise your rental property at the fair market value of what the rent should be for that property. For instance, if you've got a property that you think is going to rent for $1,500 per month, well, maybe you should only offer at $1,450 and be able to get a better tenant at that price. I will often find that you get the best tenants when you actually price your rental just below where the top of the market should be. Yes, it can be enticing to go and push for that $1,500 a month rent, or maybe even $1,520 per month, but it's not going to be worth it. Getting a good tenant in the property from the very start is going to be better than maximizing the amount of rent that you get for the property. If you get an extra $50 per month, well, that's great. That's $600 per year. That's definitely going to make a difference. However, if you get a bad tenant in there that maybe misses a month or they cause damage to the property, that's going to end up costing you way more than that $600 that you just gained. So often finding a better tenant at a lower price is the better route to go. The best tenants out there often don't last too long. When I get applications from a tenant who has a really good profile, those tenants generally don't stick around. If they're submitting applications to different landlords, a landlord is going to jump on that tenant as soon as possible. So you have to move quick, which leads us right into number 2. Don't get caught up in trying to find the absolute best tenant for your property. Oftentimes I found that it's better to just choose a tenant who qualifies based on your standard minimum requirements. You know, for me, I require at least a 580 credit score and at least 3.5 times the rent amount for their income. When I get somebody like that, it's better to just go ahead and accept that application and get somebody to move in. I've spent way too many days and nights stressing about which tenant to choose, not getting the good enough tenant that I wanted, not getting this A+ tenant that I thought I needed for that property. Honestly, when I've picked tenants who are just, okay, or just meet the requirements, they've turned out great. Great tenants that pay on time, they have their jobs, they're just going about their daily life and just need a place to stay. So although on paper they may not look like the A+ tenant that we're looking for, they honestly are still great tenants and they make their payments every month, and I don't get many issues from them. What I've learned to do is just simply meet these tenants in person, find out what type of person they are. If they present themselves in a professional manner and somebody that I would like and could see myself working with in a landlord-tenant relationship, then honestly I'll probably just go ahead and work with them in the end. And the third thing that I want to talk about here today is that your gross cash flow for the property is going to vary widely. It's easy to say, okay, I make $2,000 a month in rent and my payment's only $1,500, so therefore I've got $5,000 a month in rental income, for your cash flow. Well, it's not as simple as that. Some months you might have repairs that are $1,000. Other months you might not have any repairs at all. Looking back at the history of my rentals, I've actually come to realize that a lot of my rentals in some years only broke even, or made a very small profit. I thought I was getting all this cash flow. I had a property that was producing over $1,200 a month in gross cash flow, but by the time I got to the end of the year and factored in all of the advertising expenses, repairs, utilities, all of these things that I had to pay for, well, it ended up that I actually didn't make a whole lot of money. I wasn't making that $1,200 a month cash flow like I thought I was. In fact, I really only made maybe, $1,200 for the year for that particular year. Now, that's not going to be the case every single year. That year I did have a larger number of expenses for repairs that came up than I normally would. But still, you have to kind of factor this in and realize that your gross cash flow is going to vary a little bit, and it's not always going to be as black and white as just here's my rent amount, here's my payment amount, here's my gross cash flow. The real benefit to having real estate is that as you continue to build up more equity and as rents go up, your cash flow should theoretically increase. My favorite types of properties are the ones that need little to no work and aren't going to have any immediate repairs in the near future. This is because you can get a truer sense of what your actual gross cash flow will be after paying for any repairs or expenses that might come up, right? There might just be some small things that come up. So a property that doesn't need a lot of work or a property that you've already fixed up is going to be the better option in a lot of cases, and that's my favorite type of property. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for for watching. I hope you enjoyed the 3 things I learned about having rental properties over the past 6 years. These are things that a lot of new landlords will overlook when going out there and looking for rental properties and looking at how they, kind of set up their strategy with their rental property investing. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more real estate, crypto, stock, and money advice, and we'll catch you in the next one.